The cold deck bit into her scales as her breath came in ragged shards. Out there in the void, she had only pain, a torn organ, and the echo of boots that once meant safety. Tonight, those boots carried rage. As they drew closer, she whispered one broken truth into the empty air. And in that whisper, a choice was born that would ignite a storm and change the stars she called home. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us where you are watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. The floor of Hellion Gate's maintenance level 12 felt like night ice against Siren's scales. She lay there, cheek pressed to the grid until it stamped tiny diamonds into her emerald skin. Every shallow breath sent a line of pain along her ribs. Something shifted deep in her chest, not bone, not muscle, but that second life piece her people carried. In her mind, the truth formed, simple and heavy. The ventricular gland was torn. "It is already broken," she whispered into the thin air, and her voice had the soft ring of her kind. Only the cleaning drones heard her. They hummed past with blind purpose, little lights blinking, their roots unworried by fallen bodies or quiet grief. Boots rang beyond the bulkhead. That sound used to mean home. Once, Tarek had been the loud laugh in the dorm, the strong shoulder in training. Then the war 8 weeks and gave back a different shape. Neural boosts made him quicker and colder, and the silence around him turned sharp. After their brood elder fell in a firestorm, his temper became a storm with no end. The boots stopped. Siren's inner lids slid over her eyes. She kept her breathing small. Sometimes the cloud would pass. Sometimes he would forget she existed. Not today. The hatch opened with a tired hiss. She stayed still, because stillness used to be the safest answer. She heard his words before she saw his face. His tone came low, that warning tone their species saved for threat displays. It would have been easier if he had shouted. Quiet menace made the room shrink. Siren made herself look up. Boots first, old scuffs, then hands with clipped claws, gleam dimmed by oil. Last came his eyes, once golden, now smoked with the purple tint of stimulant use. Questions fell on her like small stones. Why are you not at your post? Why do you fail me? Why are you soft? She tried to speak of meals cooked, suits mended, shifts traded, but pain closed her throat. The mention of parents, their father had been strict and steady. Their elder had been bright and brave. Neither would know this room. He told her to stand. She pushed up on shaking hands. Fire burst along her side, white and bright. She dropped and curled, wing half open like a shield that had forgotten how to work. Time stretched thin. Lights blinked on a passing drone. Stations have false nights. Her body counted them. Later, when the station lights dimmed and Tarek sank into drugged sleep, Siren felt a new thing in the low light. It was not hope yet. It was a warm dot, like a beacon far away that refuses to go out. She stood. Each motion was a bargain with pain, but she had practice at that. She took the quiet path, the one she had mapped in secret with her feet, where the plates did not groan. The emergency hatch bit cold into her palm. She pulled anyway. Corridor air smelled cleaner than quarters air, less like old anger. Through a viewport, space lay wide and patient. She walked without looking back until the escape bay opened before her like rows of sleeping seeds. Her codes still worked. This felt like a gift given by a kinder universe. She dropped into a pod and strapped in, wing down, breath thin. Departure alarms complained, and she hushed them with an old academy override she had kept like a secret pebble. The pod snapped free and rolled out into the quiet dark. Panic rose for a heartbeat as the station shrank behind her. She had no map, no plan, and a pod with a medkit that only knew standard bodies. The autopilot asked where to go. She told it with her clumsy fingers to find a simple trade lane, not too busy, not too empty. It picked Delta Haven and lit a course like a careful thread. Hours folded over her. The scanner beeped about internal harm. She drifted between sleep and pain and the old habit of listening for footsteps. When a new voice crackled to life, it did not sound like threat. So, it sounded like someone who had seen many long nights and chosen to stay kind. "Unknown pod, this is the Quiet Comet," the voice said. "Your bio readouts are not good. Do you want help?" She tried to answer. Her throat offered only a small sound that belonged to the egg days. The voice returned, calm and sure. "We're bringing you in. Hold as steady as you can." She watched the cargo ship move in the window. Patched hull, honest lines, lights like patient eyes. Clamps closed. She felt a safe pull for the first time in years, and her mind held that little beacon as if it were the last warm coal in winter. A human stepped through the pod seal, tall for his kind, with a flight jacket that had more stitches than fabric left. His hair was a soft mess, his eyes dark and easy. He carried a med case and moved like work had taught him respect for hurt bodies. "I'm Jonah," he said. "I run the Quiet Comet. I was a field medic once, then a courier, then a person who makes silly choices for good reasons. Can I take a look?" His voice had a smile hidden in it, the sort that people learn after they have cried and still choose to help. Sarah nodded. Jonah scanned her and did not flinch at scales or wing bones. He named the right organ. "Secondary one," he asked. She gave a small yes. "That's better than primary," he said, gentle. "Painful, but not the end. We will manage the pain and keep you stable until surgery." His banter did something strange. It made room for breath. He spoke of bandages that never stick, of a time he glued a cargo hatch and had to cut it off, of how station coffee tasted like stubborn dirt. The small stories kept her awake enough to follow orders, to drink water, to accept a dose. A click came from the ceiling vent. A small thing peeked out with bright round eyes and 3 nimble paws. It chirped like a tiny bell and vanished again. "That is Quibble," Jonah said. "Engine helper, snack thief, honorary crew. Do not feed him after midnight or he will sing. He sings even if you feed him, but he should not be encouraged." The ship hummed around them in a way that felt like someone had fixed it with care. Then the comm lit. A Drake patrol announced itself with clipped formality. A second voice broke in, rough and familiar. Tarek spoke her name like a command and demanded the ship release her. Saren's chest tightened. Her wing twitched even under the wrap. Jonah did not raise his voice. He opened a channel and set the recorder light on. "This is a registered medical response," he said. "Interfering with treatment violates Treaty Clause 9, Line 12. My ship's log includes health data and our position, time-stamped and mirrored to the authority relay." Silence stretched. Jonah went on, as if talking across a table. "Also, captain to captain. Your flight pattern looks tired. I see drift and delayed roll correction. I worry you are not at your best for a hard maneuver." The patrol hesitated. Tarek tried another tack, a softer tone that reminded Saren of old days. Jonah kept the boundary like a fence with a gate that he alone would open. "My patient is awake and declines your presence," he said. "If you care for her at all, you will let her receive care." Another pause. Then the patrol cut power to weapons and pulled away, slow and stiff. The Quiet Comet held station until the patrol winked out, then turned back to its lane. Jonah set down the mic and let out a breath he had kept hidden. His hands shook a little, and then he laughed at himself in a kind way. "I always look cooler right before the nerves arrive," he said. "You did well. The hard part is trusting a stranger for a few minutes." Saren met his eyes. It felt new to be seen without fear. "Thank you," she whispered. "We are not done," he said, already moving. "Delta Haven has a good clinic. Dr. Okoye knows more about bodies than the stars know about light. You will like her. She's direct and funny and pretends she does not care while caring a lot." Quibble chirped agreement from the vent. Siren closed her eyes for a moment. She did not fall into sleep. She stepped toward it, steady, while the ship carried her like hands carry water, across a room, without spilling. Delta Haven smelled like warm solder, thin rain, and fried dough. The clinic stood on a corner, blue glass patched with a silver frame, a sign that flickered but refused to die. Dr. Mina Okoye met them in the doorway, sleeves rolled, eyes bright, hair braided to keep out of trouble. She looked at Siren with the keen gaze of someone who wants the truth more than the story. "We can help," she said. "We will need to act soon." Her tone invited trust without demanding it. The surgery did not last long by station hours, but inside Saren's head, the minutes stretched like a long hallway. She woke under soft lights, with the heavy ache of deep work done. Jonah slept in a chair like a question mark, thin blanket over his shoulders. Quibble sat on his head like a lopsided hat. Dr. Okoye checked lines and raps and said only, "You are stubborn. That is a useful trait." She listed simple steps: warm broth, slow walks, clean air. No flight until the wing remembered itself. She took no credits from Saren and teased Jonah about his ever-growing tab of favors. He teased back and looked relieved when she snorted a laugh. Days found a rhythm. Mornings tasted like tea and porridge. Afternoons smelled of ship oil and old paper. Jonah showed Saren how the quiet comet thought about travel, how a curve saves more fuel than a straight line, how a chart is a promise you keep to yourself. She learned again how to sit without flinching at footsteps. Her scales warmed under sun lamps in the cargo bay, and her mind unlearned the habit of smallness. News drifted in like dust motes. A Drake communique said an officer named Tarek had been recalled for treatment and review. The words were dry. The meaning was wide. Siren felt the weight lift, not with a shout, but with a long, quiet breath she had been holding since the academy. Jonah grinned when she told him. "Then we will plan forward," he said. "The only time machine we have is choices." He offered her a seat beside him for a supply run. Simple pickup, nothing dramatic, he promised, and the ship made a tiny creak that sounded like fresh paint rolling its eyes. The warehouse sat in the shadow of a gas tower. The manifest said medical gel. The smell said trouble. Men in gray coats moved boxes too fast, glanced too often, and held their shoulders like they expected to run. Jonah lifted a lid and made a face. "Illegal biogel," he said softly. "This stuff ruins bodies." Plasma sizzled the air before he could close the crate. Siren and Jonah dove behind a stack of harmless tubing. Sparks danced, loud and hot. Siren's wing ached, but her training woke like a sleeping animal. She mapped angles, counted beats, and spotted a side door with a panel even she could open fast. "Distraction?" she asked. Jonah pulled a small sphere from his pocket and wiggled his eyebrows. "Smoke charm," he said. "I have always wanted to use it." The throw was true. The smoke did not respect limits. It puffed purple clouds and set off every siren in the ward. Sprinklers coughed water over the crates. Labels smeared. Boots slipped. Curses echoed. They ran. She vaulted low and clean, careful of the wing. He guided her through a gap that looked too narrow until it was not. The quiet comet greeted them with an open hatch, like a friend waving them inside. Jonah slammed the seals. Siren took the co-pilot seat without thinking, hands falling into a new dance over the controls. "Course?" he asked. "Away," she said, and typed a jump that bent around the trouble like a reed in wind. The stars drew long and thin, and the ship shook itself free of the moment. Back in normal space, the nebula hung like paint in water, and the ship lit with soft colors. Jonah leaned back and laughed once, low and a little shaky. "We will now call that a training exercise," he said. "We did not get the medicine," she said, guilt pricking. "We did not get holes in us either," he replied. "We will find clean supplies. We will not help a bad system to be worse." Dr. Okoye scolded them later, and then patted Jonah's tab with a smug smile. Siren watched them argue with warmth in it. She had not known fights could be safe. That night, a washer appeared at her cabin door, round and shiny, placed with care. Quibble chirped twice and vanished. Siren turned the small metal ring in her fingers. It felt like a medal from a very small king. She slept with the door locked from the inside because choice is a soft blanket. The ship hummed a low song, and for the first time, she dreamed of maps that went forward. The noodle stall near the clinic served broth that tasted like a good memory. Siren and Jonah shared a table that wobbled, and he tried to teach her how to eat noodles without painting his shirt. A pair of Drake warriors entered with the easy stride of people who trust their own feet. One looked over, saw Siren's wing strap, and came closer with the respectful tilt used for unknown females. "Sister," he said, careful and formal. "Are you well?" She was, more than she could say. He nodded at Jonah. "Your humans spoke well on the comnet," he said. Many listened. The council heard. "The one named Tarek will face treatment and review. Your path is your own again." Siren's knees went light. Jonah steadied her without making a story of it. "Thank you," she managed. The warrior's mouth plate shifted, almost a smile. She slept with the door locked from the inside, because choice is a soft blanket. The ship hummed a low song, and for the first time, she dreamed of maps that went forward. The noodle stall near the clinic served broth that tasted like a good memory. Siren and Jonah shared a table that wobbled, and he tried to teach her how to eat noodles without painting his shirt. A pair of Drake warriors entered with the easy stride of people who trust their own feet. One looked over, saw Siren's wing strap, and came closer with the respectful tilt used for unknown females. "Sister," he said, careful and formal. "Are you well?" She was, more than she could say. He nodded at Jonah. "Your human spoke well on the comnet," he said. Many listened. The council heard. "The one named Tarek will face treatment and review. Your path is your own again." Siren's knees went light. Jonah steadied her without making a story of it. "Thank you," she managed. The warrior's mouth plate shifted, almost a smile. "Guard your steps," he said. "Eat the mild broth. The spicy bowl breaks human pride." He left them to their meal. Jonah eyed the red menu square and sighed like a sad poet. The offer came later, back on the quiet comet, where the air smelled like old leather and clean tools. Jonah wiped his hands on a cloth and tried to sound casual. "I could use a co-pilot," he said. "Someone to correct my nonsense, reach the top shelf, and remind me to live better. It pays in credits, stories, and tea." Siren looked at the stars through the small window. The dark held new roads. "Why trust me?" she asked. "Because you are you," he said. "Because you have a good laugh. Because Quibble has gifted you a washer, which is his way of filing important paperwork." As if called, the little creature dropped another shiny bit at her feet and chirped with ceremony. Before she could answer, trouble knocked one last time. A message pinged from the clinic about a different supplier who might be clean. The meat was cautious. Still, the same gray coats showed, wanting to trade bad gel for good coin. This time, Siren did not feel like someone who hopes to vanish. She felt like crew. She and Jonah worked a simple plan. They set the quiet comet under a street lamp and opened the cargo ramp like a stage. Jonah talked in circles that tied themselves into bows. Siren watched corners and kept the comm open with Dr. Okoye on the other end, ready to ping station watch. When the gray coats tried to switch crates, Siren clicked the mic, and watch lights turned the alley into day. The runners ran. The crates stayed. Inside lay proper medicine, sealed and clean, salvaged from another raid. They bought it with the clinic's voucher and a soft promise to bring soup to the watch desk later. Back at the clinic, Dr. Okoye smiled with her eyes. "You two are trouble," she said, and then softer, "the very good kind." She stacked vials in the cabinet like a prayer answered. On the walk home, Jonah stopped at a tool stall and bought a small engraver. At the ship's hatch, he handed it to Siren. "Write what feels right," he said. She thought of long nights, of the cold deck, of the first voice that sounded safe, of a tiny creature's bright eyes, of a clinic where kindness is a simple habit, not a miracle. She knelt and wrote, slow and even. Quiet Comet, Jonah Vale and Siren, crew. The letters shone thin and true against the metal. "One more thing," she said, standing. "Partnership terms." He tried to look innocent and failed. "I am very fair," he said. 60 for me, 40 for you." "Equal," she replied, "or I tell everyone how you once glued a hatch and had to cut it off with a butter knife." "That was a professional butter knife," he said. "Equal it is." They shook on it, hands warm. Quibble chirped from the vent and dropped a tiny nut into Jonah's hair like a blessing. Jonah sighed, but he was smiling. "We leave at dawn, not dawn," he said. "Space has no dawn, but I like to pretend." The next day, they carried pallets of clean supplies and a second crate filled with blank notebooks and cheap pens. Jonah called it Hope Inventory. Siren plotted a route that used less fuel and saved 2 days. When the engines came alive, the ship's small sounds nested in her chest like calm birds. Siren sat in the co-pilot's seat and rested a hand on the worn arm. The star map glowed. She thought of the girl who had once whispered about a broken organ in a gray hallway. That girl had done a brave thing. She had stood, walked, and chosen a door. Now Siren chose again. She chose routes that carried gentleness in boxes and laughter in small stories. She chose a crew that counted one human with kind eyes, one Drakeborn with a new name for herself, and one engine creature who believed that shiny washers can fix almost anything. The quiet comet slipped forward. The nebula behind them dimmed. Ahead, lanes opened like ribbon. Siren smiled. Not a careful smile, but a real one that warmed the room. "Ready, partner?" Jonah asked. "Ready," she said, and her voice did not shake. The ship listened, and the stars answered with space enough for two.